What's up, everybody? It's your girl Barbie J here with a recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama Sisters, Season 9, Episode 19, Taking It All Back. And I don't know who's taking it back. Who taking? Oh, you know what? At the end, I think Damani took it all back, if I remember correctly. Anybody else took something back in this episode? I don't know. But what I do know is that if you are new here or if you're returning and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel or whenever I go live. Then I ask that you smash that like button, which is the thumbs up button, write a comment and join the conversation, and then share the video because sharing is caring, and you want to help a sister reach her goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, which I would love to be a miracle happening at Christmas time. Anywho, this episode was interesting. I gave it a 10 out of 10, honey, because this was some real life issue stuff going on here. This stuff was like things you hear about today or you've been hearing about, but nobody likes to speak about it and talk about it. And I like that this season has been touching upon a lot of these different things. So here we got Sabrina at the bank with Damani, his fiance, what's her name, Nia or something like that. And Rich comes in with the roses and everything. And here comes Damani and Rich going back and forth. He told my old Rich, you still chasing after her. And Rich is letting him know, yeah, when she turned you down, now you want to run back to somebody else and take back what you gave. So they was going at each other. So there was some pushing, some shoving, some grabbing. And then there was name calling by Nia, calling Sabrina out of her name and all kind of stuff like that. But Sabrina wasn't backing down. I was like, okay, Bree, go do your thing. Anyhow, it ended up with them leaving the bank and saying that I'll see you in court. So that was that. Oh, and then Sabrina sticking to her guns and letting Rich know that they no longer have anything to talk about. He's like, are you serious, Sabrina? She's like, yeah. But she thanked him for coming, but she had to keep chilling, getting him to calm down, which he did, which was cool. Then we have Andy, Karen, and those three other women um sitting in the at the law firm in the reception area when they see Dr. Cruz, and then Hayden comes over. But Dr. Cruz was still being so rude, disrespectful, racist. The comments that he was making. What are you having, a DEI conference and stuff like that? It was just like, and what pissed me off is when Hayden came over there and almost was like in agreement with him, like thought it was funny or something. I didn't like Hayden at that moment. And he's gonna tell Karen she looked familiar. And Karen's like, oh, I look familiar and something. She said, but she swore when she said, oh, this one got a mouth on her and all that stuff. And Hayden telling Andy to check her, and Andy's like, get him out of here. And those ladies were very uncomfortable. They did not like what was happening. And when they found out that Dr. Cruz was a client at Benson, Jones, Leland, and Barnes, they wanted to leave. They like, we out of here. We understand what you're doing. But Andy's like, let me explain. And she tells them why Dr. Cruz is there and how it has nothing to do with them. So Karen said she'll stick with Andy and do it. So the other two women said they would as well. Next, we had a quick scene with Zach. He goes to meet Keys or Mr. Keys on a football field somewhere, and they're discussing possibly coaching and or mentoring a few of these athletes on the field. He thinks with Zach being a businessman in the community that he would be a great role model for them. And Zach said he had been thinking about something like that, but he doesn't know if he has the time. And both of them also spoke about playing football back in the day. So Zach said he'll think about it. But I'm going to be honest, y'all. If Mr. Keys is playing some type of game and he really is Zach's father, this ain't going to go over well with Zach when he find out that this man been lying to him. Zach ain't going to like it. Because I know I wouldn't like it. What would y'all do? Put it down in the comment section how you would feel about it. Next, we see Miss Brown. She goes over to Danny's workstation to inform her that Higher Airline has to let her go. And Danny tries to make a scene, tossing things around, and then she leaves with Higher Airline's property in her hand. I said, Lord Jesus, Danny, you need to stop. Next, we see Fatima. She gets a visit from Sabrina, who is actually coming to see Andy. But Andy's tied up, we know, with the Karen and the other women giving testimony about Dr. Cruz. So Sabrina tells Fatima about what happened at the bank with Damani and his fiance. And so Fatima tried looking up, laws and similar cases about IVF stuff, how it's considered in the state of Georgia. And then Sabrina shared everything about her relationship with Damani. She let Fatima know that Rich showed up as well, and that she wasn't trying to hear him at all. And she said that she's over him or over it or whatever. And Fatima let her know that she and Zach were at the Rich's Fuel Smoothie Place business, and he kept talking about Sabrina a lot. She's like, really? She said, yeah, I think he really still cares about you. She said, well, you know what? I just really can't right now. Sabrina was just, she stuck to her guns. It's like, I'm not there for it right now. And I ain't gonna lie, I was so proud of her. That's right, Bree. Barbie J is so proud of you for sticking to your guns, girl. Then we see Mr. Benson. He comes into the conference room to listen to Karen and the other two ladies' stories, and he made it clear that he cannot promise that anything will happen beyond this point, and he hopes that this is going to go quick. And I was like rolling my eyes along with them. So the first patient spoke and said that Dr. Cruz forced her to have a sloppy C-section and she passed out from blood loss. And when she woke up, not only was her son dead, but she was told that Dr. Cruz performed a hysterectomy on her and now she can't have any children. I said, what the devil? What? Then the second woman, she told her story how Dr. Cruz refused to give her any pain medication or epidural for them 14 hours or whatever it was that she was in pain. And I'm telling you now, my ears could not take it anymore. I know this is just a TV show, but cases like these happen in real life. And I'm not good at listening to stories of systemic unfairness and treatments to women or men. You know what I mean? So anyway, then we had Karen telling her story about losing forever. But then I was shocked when Mr. Benson referenced how Dr. Brett Cruz delivered his children and his grandchildren and how he was so caring and kind. And Andy had to remind him, you are a white man with a white wife whose life means more to Dr. Cruz than these women of color. I said, preach. And then Karen added, when crimes against black and brown people happen, you can get away with just about anything. Every woman in here is dealing with a special kind of postpartum depression that's made even worse by knowing we were wronged and violated. I said, you better say it, Karen. She had them tears coming down, honey. Those women was doing some great acting. Them tears was coming down. My heart was bleeding. I was feeling for them. I mean, this made it so real. That's why, I mean, these things really happen in real life, but that's what made this episode so special. That's why I got a 10 out of 10 for me. So next we have the scene where Zach sees Danny somewhat working out in a gym, and she tells him that she got fired and that Tony took her money and be gambling. And Zach tries to give her like a friendly pep talk and reminds her about what she's seen him go through with Karen. And Zach tells her maybe it's the universe saying it's time for a fresh start for her. And I said, oh shoot, that made me think about Karen's Fresh Start Salon. And of course, click, click, I was right because the next thing you know, there's a scene with Danny and she's in Karen's salon watching Pam give Maurice a shape up or something. And she tells them she got fired. Pam says she'll be looking for a job soon herself. But Danny reminds her that she still has roots to riches. And she said, I don't like to have just one stream of income, coming in. I said, check out Pam trying to be business minded. So then they started discussing what they thought Karen should probably do with the salon. And Pam had some name about Pam's wigforium or something like that, wig emporium or whatever else. And then Danny said, she wished there was a place that she could go, a spa where she could relax and get her mani and pedi done. And Maurice was like, that's a great idea. So after some convincing going on and talking, they decided to possibly go into business together, the three of them. So we'll see how that works out. So now back to Sabrina and Fatima, and she's letting her know that Rich really cares about her, but Sabrina doesn't know if she could forgive him, even though she misses him as well. So Fatima calls Damani and pretends to be Sabrina's legal counsel and says he went to her place of employment and harassed their client. And so Damani has Fatima on speaker. So his fiance Nia is hearing all of this. So she's doing all the talking and stuff. She's doing too much talking. She's doing all the answering back, talking about her cousin to take care of it. And he's like, your cousin, and she's like, I don't trust it. I'll see y'all in court and all this stuff. And so Damani is like, he's getting a little nervous now because Fatima said, he may be losing his job now. And he's like, what? She said, yes, because we'll be filing a complaint with the corporate HR department since you both work at different branches of the same company. And he's like, wait a minute. And she said, look, you can't go to somebody's office and threaten them with your wife. And you hear her going, Nia go, ain't nobody threatening her. She said, it doesn't matter. We have a witness that says you did. So she's acting like, what witness? And I said, all of this went down in the public place. Of course, they have witnesses of what was said, all the people in that bank. But she kept saying, oh, I don't trust it and all that stuff. And Fatima said, your wife is writing a check that you will have to cash, and she's not my wife. He said, not yet. And Nia looked at him like, what? And she called Sabrina a hoe. And Fatima said, you know what? Let's add defamation to that list as well. I was like, go Fatima. She was right on point with all of this. And she said, we have evidence that he gave up all legal rights to those embryos. So Damani's getting annoyed with his fiance, asking her to dial it down some. And then he asked to speak to Sabrina and then said she can do whatever she wants with the embryos and to leave them out of it. And he'll sign whatever documents necessary to put this behind them. And she was like, that's what we were supposed to do in the first place. You know what I mean? So they settled that, hung up the phone, and Sabrina was like, Fatima, you're going to make the best lawyer ever. And Fatima said, or the best actress after that performance I just did. And they started laughing. It was so funny, but it worked. It made him nervous enough to end this whole thing. And it was his fiance who was doing all the pushing and had all the mouth that would get him in trouble. And men hate women like that sometimes. They don't like when women are doing things like that and causing problems for them. So ladies, we have to be careful when we treat our men like that, or we around men and acting that way. Anywho, the episode ends with Benson telling the ladies that their stories were harrowing to hear. And he was like, his poor wife would be rolling over in her grave if she knew that he could hear such stories and do nothing about it. And that's when he made the decision that he was going to fire Dr. Cruz as a patient, and he thought that their law firm should take on a case like these ladies have here. He said, these are the type of cases we need to be taking on, and we're going to support you women and stuff. I mean, these women was like, what? They were all like tears in their eyes. They couldn't believe it. Honey, let me tell you, that man showed empathy, sympathy, kindness, heart, love, caring. I mean, I couldn't believe Benson did that. How many of y'all put it in the comment section thought Benson would not do that? I know I did not think he would do that. And I was so happy that he did. And then he told them, excuse me, I need to go and kick somebody out of our office. And when he went to kick Cruz out and had security take him out, Cruz is like, do you know who you are? Leland is rolling over in his grave, blah, 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 blah. He's doing all this talking. He said, get out. I gave you a chance. And Karen stepped to him and said something about remembering their faces, the women who took them down or whatever else. And while he was getting taken out, Hayden was just standing there looking. They had nothing to say. And then one of the women said, Dr. Vaughn. She was like, what? Dr. Vaughn, when she told her story, she said Dr. Cruz had this other doctor come in there and vouch for his story and agree with him against her. And she said his name was Dr. Vaughn. And Andy's face was like, what? And Karen, she looked at Karen and Fatima, and they were all in shock. As was I. And that's the way this episode went off. Y'all put it down in the comment section what y'all thought about it. And I will see you all in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your girl Barbie J saying happy Thanksgiving. Blessings to everybody. Continue to be thankful and grateful for all that you have. And I am grateful for all of you who have subscribed to my channel and continue to support me and help it grow. Peace.